Hi, I'm Ruth. I come from a faraway land called Moab. Something special happened when I met a kind and wise woman from Bethlehem. This is my story.
In the land of Bethlehem, there lived a woman named Naomi. She, along with her husband and 2 sons, had left their hometown because of a severe famine and had settled in the land of Moab. While in Moab, tragedy struck. Naomi's husband passed away, leaving her a widow. Her 2 sons then married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth, and they lived in Moab for about 10 years. But then, another wave of sorrow hit Naomi's life when both of her sons died, leaving her alone with her 2 daughters-in-law. Upon hearing that the famine in Bethlehem had ended, Naomi decided to return to her homeland.
Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness, as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband.
Then she kissed them goodbye, and they wept aloud and said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." But Naomi said,
Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me.
Orpah tearfully bid farewell to Naomi and returned to her people. But Ruth clung to Naomi, refusing to leave her side.
Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God.
Moved by Ruth's loyalty and devotion, Naomi and Ruth embarked on the journey back to Bethlehem together. When they arrived, the whole town buzzed with excitement and curiosity.
Can this be Naomi?
The people whispered, surprised by her return.
Don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt bitterly with me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty.
Naomi and Ruth arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest, a time of new beginnings and hope. In the land of Bethlehem there was a man named Boaz, who was a relative of Naomi's late husband, Elimelech. One day Ruth said to Naomi,
Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor.
Go ahead, my daughter.
So Ruth went out to the fields to gather grain behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech, Naomi's deceased husband. Boaz arrived and greeted the harvesters, saying,
The Lord be with you.
The Lord bless you, they answered. Boaz then asked his overseer,
Who does that young woman belong to?
She is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She asked me if she could gather grain, and she has been working steadily from morning till now, except for a short rest in the shelter.
So Boaz approached Ruth and said to her,
My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you. And whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled.
At this, Ruth bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him,
Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?
I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. How you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge.
May I continue to find favor in your eyes, my lord. You have put me at ease by speaking kindly to your servant, though I do not have the standing of one of your servants.
At mealtime, Boaz said to Ruth,
Come over here, have some bread and dip it in the wine vinegar.
When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. As Ruth got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men.
Let her gather among the sheaves and don't reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up and don't rebuke her."
So Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed the barley she had gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah. She carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered. Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over after she had eaten enough. Her mother-in-law asked her,
"Where did you glean today? Where did you work? Blessed be the man who took notice of you."
Ruth told her about the one at whose place she had been working.
The name of the man I worked with today is Boaz.
The Lord bless him. He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead. That man is our close relative. He is one of our guardian redeemers.
He even said to me, "Stay with my workers until they finish harvesting all my grain."
It will be good for you, my daughter, to go with the women who work for him, because in someone else's field you might be harmed.
So Ruth stayed close to the women of Boaz to glean until the barley and wheat harvests were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. Naomi began to devise a plan to secure a future for Ruth. One day, Naomi said to Ruth,
"My daughter, I must find a home for you, where you will be well provided for. Now, Boaz, with whose women you have worked, is a relative of ours. Tonight, he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Wash, put on perfume, and get dressed in your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do."
Ruth listened to Naomi and went to the threshing floor. She waited until Boaz had finished eating and drinking, and then she went quietly and uncovered his feet and lay down. When Boaz woke up and saw her there, he asked,
"Who are you?"
"I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your covering over me, for you are a guardian redeemer of our family."
"The Lord bless you, my daughter. This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. Although it is true that I am a guardian redeemer of our family, there is another who is more closely related than I. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as your guardian redeemer, good, let him redeem you. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until morning."
So Boaz told Ruth to stay with him that night, and in the morning he went to the town gate to meet with the other relative. When the guardian redeemer came by, Boaz called out to him, gathered 10 of the town's elders, and said to them,
"Naomi, who has returned from Moab, is selling the piece of land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should bring the matter to your attention and suggest that you buy it in the presence of these witnesses."
"I cannot redeem it because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it yourself. I cannot do it."
He said this after learning he would have to marry Ruth as well. Boaz then said to the elders and all the people present,
"You are witnesses today that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from his hometown. Today you are witnesses."
"We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the family of Israel. May you have standing in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. Through the offspring the Lord gives you by this young woman, may your family be like that of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah."
So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. The Lord blessed her, and she gave birth to a son. The women said to Naomi,
"Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you and who is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth."
Naomi took the child in her arms and cared for him. He was named Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David. So Ruth and Boaz's union resulted in the birth of Obed, who would become the grandfather of King David, a direct ancestor of Jesus Christ. Thus, Ruth's story became intertwined with the lineage of King David, a testament to her faithfulness, loyalty, and the blessings that come from trusting in the Lord.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share.